Having body image concerns is a relatively common experience and is not a mental health issue or problem in and of itself. However, it can be a risk factor for many mental health problems. If you've suffered from anxiety, depression, shame, or self-consciousness due to your weight or appearance, or feeling like somehow you just don't belong, pay attention. This video is absolutely for you. I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks on how to help cope with that and maybe help you understand that you are not alone. Join me now. Watch. So one of the things I'm working through, it's a big thing, is my PTSD, eating disorder, body dysmorphia. I understand body dysmorphia because when I look back, I can see like the way as I started to gain weight, the issues that I had with my weight, what I saw, when I looked at myself, and then when I go and look back is skewed. So I would understand the belief of what I see now being skewed. However, the comparison to where I was, where I want to be, okay, but there's real things. I just got back from the doctor who confirmed hormone imbalances and issues, which I'm not surprised about, severe stress, the fact that being 40 plus, the body changing, etc., etc. Well, the issue I have on my body as well is the extreme inflammation. So it's like the symptoms, the pain, the things. I do not eat bad. And this is the thing too. It's the psychologies and the understanding. Did I eat better than most? Okay, well then there's this good, better, best thing. Also though, the psychology pieces of the addiction, which is what I'm working through, and the understandings of that. And then to understand the food intolerances. So the next stage of those things is like really recognizing. So that's the difference too with so many, and the process that I've been putting myself through, very different to what, and trying to document this, very different to, here's the plan, do this. Well, yes, I get in theory if I just, here's a plan to do it. Whereas my issue and my psychology piece in this roots back to the addiction, the low self-worth, where these things come from, and that the underlining issues is the trauma and the self-beliefs. And that's what I'm actually working through, because as we crave specific things, that is directly linked into the brain and the trauma. And then different timelines for those different things. So the example is, and I have to, egg whites. Okay, for some people, right? That's great. Okay, great protein, this, that, and the other thing. I can feel it in my body, the intolerance from it. Okay, so I'm gonna finish that. I'm gonna try to, but it's been easier. I'm trying to get into a base, a stability, because of I was very spun out with the binge eating and the overeating, because that's my go-to, my comfort. And I also have to be forgiving in that, because the loneliness, and I don't turn to, trying to get, like, I'm trying to heal. So I attract the right people in my life and right things, well, because I don't treat myself well when I'm alone. Okay, so that's the process. This though, because of the triggers, that's also goes in the brain of different things at different times in my life. Also funny fights with my father, because when I started getting into fitness and then fitness diets, and specifically this time, so it was, whatever, as a teenager, so late 90s, early 2000s, and I was going through this, because Eastern European mentality and what he had in the household, and everything to do with price and cost, and, well, I'm not buying you specific groceries, like it always had a role, and like what, because I was in one house, like, forced to eat certain things, and if I don't eat these things, and et cetera, and then it always related somehow to money in that sense. And he did, in hearing constant body shaming that he would portray to other people, because he never had issues with his body weight issues or whatever else, and he was a person who was very critical of other people. And I didn't kind of realize these things. It's another obsession, right? So in one household, trauma, my grandma in that household, and everything being about my weight and my appearance, and then the confusion because of the issues that I had from sexual abuse and etc. But this, the egg whites, the triggering of that. So I'd argue there's the real circumstance of the actual, you have something and your body has an intolerance or an allergy to it, but the deep-rooted thing in the psychology, that intolerance could come from that place, because that can root in the brain from something that happened, in that there is a trauma that's linked to it. So when we crave something or want something, is it a comfort that's good or bad? Like I would traditionally growing up hide food, be shame, eat in private. That's the things that create the chocolate, the hamburgers and stuff. I'm very aware not to do those things now. If I want to eat something, I'll have it I have it, I don't shame. And I was very cautious. Never in my life did I talk about my weight or appearance, shaming any of those things around my children. So I never repeated what was done to me. I just wasn't aware, and this is the cycle kind of back now that I'm dealing with this again, almost like a student of my own programs, because at one time I did heal my own eating disorder. And I believed I was permanently healed, but the one thing I didn't understand, it was the love. I've never learned to love myself. And that the truth is, when I was married and believed I was loved from my husband, that gave me a base. I've never been loved unconditionally, and I've learned most people haven't, especially with trauma survivors, or if you have narcissistic parents, if you're only loved when you do something right, that's not love. Like, I love my daughter unconditionally. No matter what she does, I'll always love her. What I'm learning in the separation is the boundaries to understand that, because enabling is bad too. And learning how to set boundaries for yourself so people don't walk all over them. That's the difference. And it does root right? So any addiction for anyone roots to low self-worth. What addiction, when, where, and why? Even workaholic is an addiction. So like different reasons, right? The different blessings. So the next stage, right, is even the inflammation for me has been so bad, the pain has been so bad, but the gym for me is a punishment. The gym for me has never been that, and I said this, it's supposed to be a celebration of what your body can do, not a punishment for weight, or like I'm going there because I have to. I'm still working through that mentality and forgiveness, because that's the whole issue. I've been shamed, right? Coming from an industry that's shaming, but also like in a lifetime and hearing other people shame or whatever. I've never shamed other people for their body. I've only empowered. However, the person I shame, and that's the internal dialogue from all this to understand, is myself constantly. And that is, are you turning the hate inward? Well, you're never going to every person to save a life has to save their own. So like, dealing with suicidal thoughts, because it's that bad for me constantly, I have to save my own life. Well, I have to find that self-worth and that self-love. And the only time in my life that I was genuinely very healthy was deflecting on being the best mom, the best wife, but all of those things, but those are still conditions. But I was healthy when I believed I had that love. When that was taken from me, it turned my whole world upside down. That's what spun me out. But in a way, it took me back in time. And I'm trying to understand that process. And it's like at times, my brain is childlike because I didn't learn those skills. I have to be forgiving of myself. And at other times, and I would say the same, whether somebody's addicted to alcohol, drugs, whatever, there's different layers for those things and different types of, but the core for all of us would be the same. And self-love and self-worth can be different things, and at different times we're different. And that's the biggest thing I know is, as a human, I make a ton of mistakes, but the thing I'm most proud of is not repeating what was done to me. Ironically, I do it to myself, exactly what all of those people, and that's self-sabotage. Well, if I don't learn I'm worthwhile, how can I teach people they're worthwhile? And that's what I did my whole life, as deflection. You're worthy. You're great. It's easy to say that to other people. And I believed it. But why can't I do that to myself? I'm working through that. It's a strange process. Some days I'm good, some days I'm not. But I'm not going to the gym specifically because I need to understand it, because I've been hating it. It's been such a trigger. Because I have the wrong mentality. It's a punishment. And it shouldn't be that, because I'm so blessed that I'm still able to walk